little scripts that you would run at work to do automate things and to do things. On a blockchain, you can have like a dumbed down plug and play version where anyone can go in and say, hey, I need a smart contract that does these five particular things in these five in these this order. And as long as you can do that, man, you can select this thing. It's got a GUI, so you're not reading code. You're just reading a description of what this function does, and then you select it and you plug it together and play it. You pay your fee. It wraps up the smart contract for you. Then you go and you deposit your tokens, you deposit your NFTs or whatever you're trying to do. Dude, when we get to that level, and all of us are older, I'm 45. I don't know who the youngest person in the room is, but no matter how young you are, none of you are 3 years old with an iPad. But think about the 3-year-old with an iPad who they're going to be growing up with this level of blockchain tech. And by the time they're our age, dude, we're living in a totally different world. Like I noticed my niece is 3 years old or 4 years old. She was using her iPad and using iMovie to edit a movie. And I'm like, I don't think I would have known how to edit a movie at 3 years old. So imagine like these kids as blockchain becomes that easy to use for them, whether they're in their early stages of life, teens or 20s, they're just going to be able to do lots of things very easily on chain that we kind of can't do today. There are limitations for our generation of blockchain users, and I'm excited to see like the kind of stuff that these kids get to grow up with because we're going to be old and probably out of the game by then. And but these kids are going to be living in a world where they get to experience this in a totally new way than we do today.
Hey, Epic, I gotta get going. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you guys. Kris, good to meet you, man. A lot of good points. Um,
Yeah, Dan, nice to meet you, sir.
you too. Take care, guys.
See you later.
Take
Aloha,
care.
Dad. Take care, brother.
Hey, see you later.
Yeah, that's that's a great perspective you had there, Kris. It's going to be really interesting to see how these kids come up and change the game. And I'm excited, man. Like we were talking about earlier, we're kind of just like riding this wave, and just kind of, for me personally, being kind of in a lot of different worlds at once, you know, kind of a spectator along with a builder, watching everything evolve. So I'm excited to see where we go and how awesome it's going to get. Like for example, with actual municipalities and governments and things like that. Like Patrick from Lunar Space, we had a great conversation the other day and talking about how they they're talking about like, yeah, we can run a municipality on this tech, and something I kind of already assumed, but it's going to be cool to see places like Hawaii, places that are kind of like places that got stepped on in the past, coming out of that and coming back into their full power, and letting the people govern through blockchain. That's what I see it right now, like
Yeah.
trying to help people open their minds to that idea.
Yeah, and it's very important. I'm like you. I can't wait to see like these small towns and small cities start to utilize blockchain and crypto and DAOs. Like the DAOs that we even currently have, while they still have a long way to go, for the most part, the tech is becoming very, very high level, very fast. And your ability to come together as a group and manage a treasury and even like send it out to smaller teams and sub DAOs, or even like you can't always vote on everything, right? But the same way we have elections to elect politicians, that it's going to work at your courthouse and work at your local DMV and your judges and your jailers. Like there's something in crypto called AuthZ. That's AUTHZ. And the cool thing about a DAO is, imagine if you wanted to put everything to a vote. Well, we all know, dude, you can't do that. You can't get people to come vote on Pulsera to get this guy's money back. You can't reach a 50% quorum. So imagine you're trying to run, like you said, a municipality or a local city or county government, even on a smaller scale with a small population and a small workforce that works for the county or the city. Like the friction is so bad when you try to govern, when you try to use governance. Now it is very transparent, it's very open, it makes sense that we'd want to have governments or cities or people in a city to govern certain things. But one of the cool things about a DAO is like you can have this thing called auth where you say, listen, we're going to have certain things managed by every single person in the city gets to vote. And then we're going to have sub DAOs underneath that main DAO where you have like the people that work at the courthouse get to vote on this, the people that control the treasury get to vote on this, the jailers get to vote on this. And then underneath those sub DAOs, they can even break it down even further to smaller teams of like instead of having 10 or 20 or 100 people, they could have 2 to 3 people, right? And maybe it doesn't even make sense to have everything come to a vote. Maybe you have major issues that require a lot of oversight and a lot of checks and balances. You add that to a vote. But do you really think every time the lady at the courthouse goes to pay a bill, like a basic electric bill or something, that everyone needs to pitch in their vote for that? No, you would give her what we call auth. The cool thing though is this: while she has the power to control the funding that's delegated inside of that DAO and spend the money, you have a history, a transparent history of every single thing she does. So that gives her a lot of incentive and a lot of oversight to be honest, and makes auditing her to make sure she's not stealing money, to make sure she's doing her job in a timely manner. All those things become a lot more visible. And even though you give her the freedom to do it, it's not like you took the crypto or the voting power and you just gave it to her in her own wallet and then walked away and then she could take off with the money. No, effectively what you did was is it's like permissions when you're dealing with a computer network or on Windows or something. Like you might not give your kid permissions to do everything on your family's computer or your family laptop, right? You might say the parents can do whatever we want, but the kids, like there might be a restriction on you making a credit card payment, right? So this is kind of the same thing where you can restrict what those workers do and what those people in the DAO do, but you can also give them a lot of freedom for the everyday things where you've got a fund that they kind of like work out of that fund and then make payments, and you don't want the friction to slow them down from doing their job. You just give them auth. And if they ever do anything that is either immoral, illegal, unethical, they try to steal the money, they're not doing their job right, they're not getting you the results you want, you just pull, as a DAO, you vote to pull auth off of them, and it takes away their rights to spend from that fund. So, dude, there's so much stuff you can do. And I'm like you, I think you could probably deploy this software right now and kind of run for the most part. I'm sure there'd be hangups. I'm sure there'd be some things that we're not thinking of they need to adjust. But I think you could kind of run a small company or a small city on these things as is. And given another 5 to 10 years, dude, these things are probably going to be commonplace everywhere, either in industry or corporations or small businesses or even communities or city or county government, I think.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's just cool to be able to witness it and even be able to play a part in onboarding people. I see that as a big potential and a way to supplement our income by simply educating folks that are maybe ready to implement this into their business or, you know. So I think we're all on the right track.
Levi, it is. And you said something very, very unique there. You said you could supplement your income. Do you know how many times per month I do like these little calls and these little talks with people who are either in business or it's a new person wanting to get into crypto? Like I've made, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, per person, just giving them these kind of like little talks and helping them set up wallets, showing them how they can use a DAO in their business, showing them how they can work with like a group of friends to manage a fund together. So maybe they don't want to like have their own crypto fund, but they've got like 20 buddies and they all want to pitch in and they want to like manage where the money goes and gets invested, but you want to do that in a trusted manner. Like, dude, there's so many little calls that I've had. I even had a friend text me today from Texas, and when he lived in Kentucky, I think I did probably 6 to 8 sessions with him for over the course of like 5 or 6 months. And then he called me back after he moved to Texas and said, hey, man, I know it's been a while, but I'm reading over your notes from what we went over last year, and I really want to get back into crypto before the bull run. And he started asking me questions, not just about crypto, but about DAOs and NFTs. And before he didn't care at all about those things. So, yeah, man, you can, if